Hello again, it's Anne, and you've finished your annotated bibliography, so now it's time to write your thematic literature review. So the purposes of going into the literature and the purpose of the literature in general is that knowing what other people have done helps you map and define your research topic. You may already have discovered that you're thinking a little differently about your project or thinking a little bit differently about what your foundations might be. It helps you present a balanced view. You may have a particular idea about what you think your project should be or how it will go. By going into literature, you may have discovered that there are other alternatives, and this is the way you present those alternatives. It can also help justify your research question. You may find things that support what you're already thinking. It allows you to keep up to date with what's currently in the field. It provides literature for you to compare your findings to at the end of your study, and it allows you to emphasize the credibility of your own experiences. So what is this thing called the thematic literature review? You're going to focus on a specific topic, which is, in your case, is the focus of your study. You compile the research that has been published by scholars or experts, and it provides the background for the problem and puts the problem into historical perspective. The thematic literature review also informs the reader about the current concepts and state of research on the topic and controversies that are endemic. It organizes the citations thematically, and what you get is you move from your annotated bibliography into something that is a narrative and a big piece of your paper. So what a review of the literature is not is a thesis paper. It's not another form of an annotated bibliography. It's not suggestions for further reading, and it's not a collection of quotes or paraphrasings from other sources. Your thematic literature review allows you to discuss your sources in terms of the themes or topics that they cover. It forces you to summarize your sources, and grouping them thematically enables you to demonstrate the types of topics that are important to your research and your study. When you write your thematic literature review, you can group things according to terms, theories, arguments, disagreements, or methods. Make sure you understand what you've read. Do not use a piece of literature, a source, a reference if you do not understand it. So how do I take those annotated bibliography pieces and turn them into a thematic literature review? The first thing I have to do is sort of map my concepts. If I have 5 to 10 primary sources, those are your annotated bibliography pieces, you should have 2 to 6 major themes. I'm going to show you a visual of what that looks like. So on the left-hand column are my 6 sources. These are the 6 pieces I have in my annotated bibliography. And as I'm reading source 1, it seems to have theme A. And then as I'm reading the second article I have, it has different themes, but there are kind of 2 things going on in that article, theme B and C. I go back and I look at my third article again, and it kind of addresses that A theme again that I found in source 1, and that B theme or concepts or ideas that I found in source 2. And so on. Source 4, I discovered, covers A, B, and C. Source 5 covers maybe idea C, and then source 6 covers the source C again, but it has a new theme, D, that I hadn't come across before. So this is a visual of the source on the left and the theme on the right. I take the next step because what I really want to talk about is themes, not sources. So then I flip it. I discovered that I had 4 themes. So I'm going to put them on the left. I have theme A, B, C, and D. And then I have my source citations. And you notice that some of my citations may repeat. I might talk about Article 3 more than once. I might talk about Article 2 more than once. And that's okay. That's why it's thematically arranged. So I determined that I have 4 themes: the nature of the problem, the findings on best practices, the use of reinforcement, and teacher modeling. And for each of these 4 ideas, I have different citations that I can use, different references I can make, different pieces of literature to which I refer. So when I write my thematic literature review, I may have 4 paragraphs, 4 large paragraphs in my entire literature review section. And the first one would talk about the nature of the problem. The second paragraph would talk about best practices around this problem. The third paragraph would talk about the use of reinforcement, and the fourth paragraph would talk about teacher modeling. In that first paragraph on the nature of the problem, I'm going to cite my source 1, my source 3, and my source 4. In my second paragraph, when I'm talking about best practices around this problem, I'm going to cite source 2, source 3, and source 4 again, and so on. And so you might be a little repetitive, but you're going to talk about different aspects of those sources as you go through. And you can see how this is much more narrative than your annotated bibliography. But most of the writing you've already done in that annotated bibliography. Just sort of have to rewrite it now so it's more of a narrative format. So I have these 4 themes that emerged from my review of the literature: the nature of the problem, the review of best practices in addressing the issue, the use of reinforcement as a specific intervention strategy, and teacher modeling as an intervention strategy. For example, yours will be different. Once you have your themes, organize them in a way that makes sense to your project. What should come first and what should come last? Make sure the order makes sense and flows, and then share with a colleague and get feedback. You're well on your way to writing your classroom research project paper.